Edmonton Oilers 8, Arizona Coyotes 2. Welcome back. The day after reaction. Myself was Cam from OilersNation.com. Cam, how are we feeling?
I would 8 to be a member of the Arizona Coyotes.
Well, at least they're going home now finally after a
Finally.
14 game road streak.
Yeah, the Coyotes, I think, have only played 4 games at home this season through what's it been, like 2.5 months now?
Mm-hmm.
Because they have that college stadium. They're playing at ASU, and they had to build like a big tent outside so the visitors could have a dressing room. And now they're moving it inside. So they had to go on the road for almost an entire month. And then they were at the tail end of that road trip finally here in Edmonton, and they looked like they were just completely gone. They were just completely gassed. If there was ever a scheduled win for the Oilers, here it was. And they definitely capitalized. It was the first time all season they'd actually just beaten the crap out of one of their opponents. And it was really refreshing to watch.
Yeah, exactly. You wrote down in your day after today, for the first time this season, the Edmonton Oilers kicked somebody's ass. And yes, it was the Arizona Coyotes, but I think is this a game that can instill a little bit more confidence throughout the lineup?
I think so because that's kind of what I was going for when I wrote the recap there is it was they've had some pretty big wins so far. I mean, they beat Nashville 7-4, Pittsburgh 6-3. They had two what appeared to be bigger wins against Chicago, but the Blackhawks wound up coming back and making it close. So that was kind of the point I was making is that in every win they've had this season, it's never been stress free except for that one. And you kind of hope with then beating Arizona 8-2, every single player on the team's involved, they're rolling the lines. Everyone's playing. Everyone's feeling good. Maybe that just loosens things up and gets guys playing with more confidence. Maybe they're gripping their stick a little less tight. Maybe that just helps them moving forward.
Right, right. And let's just get here to your takeaways from the game. What would your first takeaway you think was be?
I think the one, and I don't want to come up with a negative here after an 8-2 win, but I guess I'll just get this out of the way first. Is I was kind of surprised that this wasn't used as a game to get Jack Campbell back into the net. Because, like I said, this was pretty much the biggest scheduled win of all time. The Coyotes are not good at any point, let alone when they're on the 14th game of a 14 game road trip. And Stuart Skinner in his last game when the Washington Capitals came to town faced 50 shots. So you'd think, 2 nights later, maybe give him a rest. This is pretty much an automatic win. It's a layup. Let's get Jack Campbell in there, but they chose not to. So it kind of just shows like, when's this guy going to get back in? What are they going to do? What's it going to take? Like, I mean, are you going to use him in one of the games
Mm-hmm.
against Minnesota? That's a team that's rolling along nicely. It's really hard to say.
Takeaway number two.
Takeaway number two is I quite like the Jesse Puljujarvi Dylan Holloway
Yes.
pairing, and they had James Hamblin in the middle. It was a really young line full of players that skate well and kind of have something to prove right now. I mean, there was the whole thing yesterday with Jesse Puljujarvi with his lack of confidence, and then there's been plenty of talk the entire season about Dylan Holloway just kind of sitting on Edmonton's fourth line, not really getting a tremendous opportunity. This is a line that brings a tremendous amount of speed and they can forecheck and really bother their opponents. And even if they don't score, I think they're an interesting trio to watch. I'd like to see them go up against an actual NHL team and
Mm-hmm.
show what they could do.
No, 100%. You wrote that in your article as well, and I would agree. I was at the game yesterday. I thought Puljujärvi played fine. I didn't see any like flaws in his game to say per se. Like he just played a solid game. Yeah, he didn't get on the score sheet, but like I thought he skated well. I thought he passed well. He moved well to the line. It wasn't anything. It's like, oh, he played terrible. Like I don't know. There's been a lot of finger pointing at him recently, and I think deservedly so. He hasn't been producing, but it's not. That's not a game where I'm like, oh, he played like crap, right? Like he played
Mm-hmm.
fine. I thought hopefully maybe that starts to shift in his way, but we'll see. Takeaway number three for you.
The other one for me was Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has quietly had an incredibly good season. He already has
Yes.
as many goals. No, he has more goals now after yesterday's 2 goals than he did all of last season through over 60 games. And it's nice to see that kind of rebound. It's nice to see a player the Oilers have kind of just dedicated a contract to stick around forever. It was not the ideal season for him to have last year after signing that long-term deal, but I mean, it is what it is. Players
Mm-hmm.
have down seasons, and he's bounced back this year phenomenally well, and he might be on pace now to set a new career high in goals. So that's a really nice positive to see.
And I think one player we really need to talk about right now is the real Klim Shady, Klim Kostin. This guy seems to be like a steal of a deal for Dmitry Samarukov. Well done to Ken Holland for that move. This guy's scoring goals now. He's getting into fights. He's looking like he's a very good presence in the locker room. The players are enjoying him. He's only been here for what, 2 months now, and you're seeing photos of him hugging, Zach Hyman from behind. He's having a little bit of fun with the media with putting his stick. Like, Klim Kostin, he's been in like kind of a breath of fresh air in that bottom six, I would say.
Yeah, that's what the team needs. I mean, you need character players, role players to come in and contribute, not necessarily just contribute goals, which is fantastic, contribute offense, that's great, of course. But you need players to come in and bring positive energy. The season's a long marathon, it's a long grind, a gauntlet, especially when you're in days
Mm-hmm.
like this. It's the dog days of winter, it's cold outside, it's not great. So you need players to come with a positive energy, and that's who everybody wants to play
Yeah.
with. And that's what you need to have a successful season.
And I think Oilers fans love players like Klim Kostin, who comes to play every night. He's physical. He can get a couple of shots. He can produce a little bit of offense. He's fought Zach Kassian. That was fun to
Yeah.
see. Like Zach Kassian's return, we didn't even mention that. And also shout out to Derek Ryan, who also had a good game in the bottom six. Like the bottom six it's Arizona,
Yeah.
yes, but positives.
That's what I mean. That's what, like, it's Arizona. They're bad. You can't draw too many conclusions about what they did against a bad team. But what the hope is that, what, they got some positive momentum here. Hopefully they can take that into next game and feel better than how they have been playing, kind of through this
Yes,
gauntlet of November and December.
perfectly put. Well, thank you for everyone tuning into the day after reaction. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Head to OilersNation.com for more. And of course, the Oilers take on the Minnesota Wild tomorrow. Team they've struggled against. Let's see if a little bit of this offensive magic can shift against Minnesota.